very much. As mentioned, I'm Al Biehler, Secretary of the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, also this year's President of the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials. I think that the core of our message this morning is alluded to is that we are unified in our conviction that substantial investment in the nation's freight transportation system must be given a high priority in the next authorization bill. Without such an investment, performance of all modes of goods movement will continue to deteriorate, and our country will pay a high price in terms of this domestic prosperity and international competitiveness. We are unified, and that's our message. It's an important one if you look at the interests represented by the broad array of members of the coalition. We're unified in support of substantial investment in the nation's freight infrastructure system, and we're unified in urging that the development of that there be a national multimodal freight strategic plan. That plan, not a rail plan or not a trucking plan or not a port plan, but it needs to be a multimodal freight strategic plan to target investment where it produces the greatest benefits for the nation's economy. When I became president of AASHTO last fall, I declared that freight to be one of my 3 emphasis areas, which is always the sort of the right of the incoming president. And what I said at that time was that an efficient and dynamic transportation system is vital to our domestic and international growth, productivity, and progress. A truly national system is one that reaches into all parts of the country and makes benefits of an efficient national freight transportation system available to all of the nation's producers and consumers. AASHTO has developed itself a set of proposals that adds up to $60 billion of freight transportation investments, which we propose over the next 6 years of the next bill. Broken into 2 primary components, an $18 billion state freight transportation program, and secondly, a $42 billion National Freight Corridors Investment Fund. The first program, the state freight program, would be one we propose would be funded through increases in funds within the National Highway Trust Fund and administered by the states. The $42 billion national program we would propose be funded with a set of new funds that would be half administered by the U.S. Department of Transportation for national quarters of national significance, and half apportioned to the states to do the same. And spread across, incidentally, the second one, across all modes. Congressman Oberstar has made a good start in his bill, and we know there's discussion continuing on that bill. The Freight Stakeholders Coalition is committed to work together to achieve enactment of a significant transportation program in the next surface transportation bill. Thank you.
I'm Jennifer Macdonald with the Association of American Railroads. Really what we're here about is to change that sign that's out in the front where you saw the highway bill. We would like for it to be referred to as the transportation bill, so that all transportation modes are really represented when you think about that surface transportation reauthorization. So what I'm here is to represent the views of the Class 1 freight railroads, private entities that move about 95% of all the rail freight, the Class 1 railroads, and amongst the freight railroads collectively, we move about 43% of all the tonnage from city to city. So very much a very key component of the freight rail network. And we are, why should we be part of this network? Very fuel efficient, very clean, safe way to move freight. Hopefully many of you who live here have heard some of our commercials about how fuel efficient we are, getting 457 miles to the gallon now, our numbers have gone up, to move 1 ton of freight that many miles. Looking ahead and looking at the growth projections, we see that the freight is going to be daunting in this country. And so this is a good time when the economy is down, when traffic is down, to do a lot of the repairs and capacity expansion that need to be done so that we can meet that that demand ahead. And traffic is down. In our industry, traffic is down about 18% over last year, so very much a huge concern. It's kind of like thinking about your house. If you're going to put on an addition, do you want to plan to do that addition when your kids are away at summer camp, or do you want to plan to do it during the Thanksgiving holidays when everybody's coming to your house? You want to do it when you've got the ability to have as few people out on the rails as possible to get that done as safely and as effectively as possible. We've estimated that in terms of the investment ahead, by 2035, we need about $148 billion to put into the freight rail infrastructure. And while the freight railroads will be able to meet a good amount of that, there's still going to be a gap between what we can meet from private funds and what the demand is for that. And so what we have been recommending and urged that be included in the surface transportation bill in the tax title is a provision that would provide an infrastructure tax credit to the railroad industry, a 25% tax credit. It would be actually to any taxpayer. It could be a shipper, a railroad, so that would further incentivize and enable the freight railroads to build more. So it's important to look at the role of the freight railroads, not just in moving the nation's freight, but as we look ahead in terms of mobility for people and passengers, being able to accommodate the demand for passenger rails as well is something that we're interested in. One of the planks of the coalition stakeholder platform says that we want to build on the success of the existing freight programs, and that's certainly the case. For example, the projects of national significance. This has been a program that has helped fund a very huge project in Chicago, kind of the hub. 1/3 of all freight rail goes through Chicago. Very major project there. We would like to see that continued in the next authorization bill at significant levels. Grade crossings, where you have interference or where motorists are passing over railroads. We want to make sure that there's a robust program there for grade crossings. And also flexibility to the states to the extent that any freight funds that are adopted or suggested would include general revenues funds. We would want to see that the states would have flexibility to use that not only for highways and bridges, but for ports and freight rail, passenger rail, just as that flexibility was provided in the stimulus bill here last February. So with that, I'll stop and turn it over to Darren Roth, who is the Director of Highway Operations at the American Trucking Association, one of our largest customers.